Dan Illman, Mike Beer taking a look at race number 12 at Turfway Park on Saturday, a Kentucky Derby qualifying points race. It's the Jeff Ruby Stakes. $700,000 is the purse. We're going a mile and an eighth on the poly-track surface. Let's take a peek at this field. It looks like a wide open group, Mike. The number one Major Dude is 5-2 for Todd Pletcher, Arad Ortiz. This horse is a multiple graded stakes winner on turf. Now he's got to take his show on the synth.
Yeah, he's been versatile so far, Dan. We'll see if he can handle a third surface now in his career. He certainly, comes into this race in really good form, and he's got a great post on the inside, but it just feels like there are a lot of different ways to go in this race.
He does have a good amount of tactical speed, Major Dude. I'm curious to see where our friends at Timeform US have him after the first half mile on our Timeform US pace projector. And they have Major Dude lingering near the back of the pack, which wouldn't be surprising if this red bar fast-paced scenario plays out. I think the 4 Fantastic again has found his running style on the synthetic. That's going to the front. We'll see if the 5 Makers Candy and the 11 Wadsworth want to get involved with him. I know Wadsworth can sit.
Yeah, Wadsworth's been versatile in his 2 starts on this surface so far. We'll see how aggressive they get. More than anything else, as far as this pace goes, Dan, it's kind of all about the 4 Fantastic. Again, it feels like if this pace is faster, it could really work against him, because as good as he's looked in winning both of his starts on this surface, they were both rated paces where he was loose, and maybe that won't be the case this time.
The number 7, Bluebird's Over, has shown speed in all of his starts, and he could provide a little bit of pace as well. The number 1, Major Dude, ran well on dirt to begin his career, but he's really blossomed as a turf horse, a multiple graded stakes winner, including this win in the Kitten's Joy last month at Gulfstream Park, a race in which he beat 2 next out winners. He did sit a very nice inside out trip under Irad, and you could tell by the way he finishes up that the extra distance isn't going to prove much of a problem. The sire, Bolt D'Oro's gotten off to a very good start on synthetic. 32 starts on the synthetic for his progeny, 10 wins.
Yeah, that's just a dominating win right there. That comes off of his seasonal debut, Dan, where he just, sort of got compromised in a race where the pace was slow and the winner got to the lead and never stopped. This horse actually ran well that day to be second, took a step forward last time. I thought a pretty significant one, too. There could be a good trip coming for him in this race. He's very professional in his races, too, so you don't feel like any traffic is going to be a problem for him. I do think he's probably the horse to beat in here. I just don't know that I'd want a short price on him.
Trainer Ben Colebrook is already on the Kentucky Derby trail. He won the Gotham at a big price, and will try to pull up another upset with the 2s. Scooby Quando's done little wrong from 3 lifetime starts, and he has valuable experience over this track. This is his home surface. He was second last time out in the Battaglia. It was a fast-paced race. He was run down late by a true closer in congruent to who he's going to face yet again.
Yeah, I don't know that he's the kind of horse who I would, necessarily want to go back to in this race, Dan. But it's not, to me anyway, it's not that hard to go back and watch the Battaglia and think this horse got really, really unlucky in that race. Yeah, the setup was there for him, but he got trapped behind horses around the final turn there while everybody else was making moves out in the clear. And by the time he got loose in the stretch, he finished really well, but it was way too late. I thought he ran really well last time. He was no match for Wadsworth 2 starts back, but that was right off the maiden win.
In a wide open race, it's probably wise not to sleep on horses like the 3 Event Detail just because of one poor running line. In his most recent race, the Connections, they tried dirt in the Rebel. It didn't work out for him. But if you go back to his prior 2 starts, both around 2 turns at Turfway Park, it appears this is his surface, and maybe he'll focus a little better this time around with the addition of blinkers.
Yeah, I think all those things are true, Dan. We'll see what kind of price is. If he's anywhere near that morning line, 15-1, I'll definitely be using this horse. I liked his first start on this surface where he got wired, but made a nice run around the turn there just to get close. I was really taken by his maiden win 2 starts back. I thought he looked really good winning that race with a little trouble around the first turn. Again, I feel like he could get bet in this race, but if he doesn't, I'm using this horse.
Fantastic again is the number 4, and it looks like he's found a home on the poly track, winning both of his starts at Turfway Park, both around 2 turns and both while utilizing his good early speed. In his most recent race, a little stake at Turfway, he beat 2 next out stakes winners on dirt, including the horse that won the Gotham with a 90 buyer speed figure. This will be a tougher test from a pace standpoint, and he's got to do it off a 2-month layoff.
Yeah, he's been impressive in each of those last 2 wins. I'm not going to deny that, but he's had so much the best of it in both of those races, Dan. Just got absolutely loose on the lead both times. The paces weren't fast, but nobody challenged him. He was just on his own, up there cutting the pace the entire way, had plenty left through the stretch both times, sprinted on home. He's looked good winning. Not going to deny that. I do think he fits right in with this field, but they're supposed to make him race a little bit this time as they stretch out to 9 furlongs, and I think that works against him.
The number 5, Maker's Candy, will make his first start around 2 turns and his first start on a synthetic surface for trainer Michael Maker. I really liked his maiden win. It was against fellow New York breds 2 starts back. He got a good figure. I thought it was visually impressive. And he bounced back in this performance in the Gander last month. And we see Maker's Candy turning into the stretch shoulder to shoulder with another horse. He'll eventually get the better of this horse, but he'll be disqualified by the stewards.
Yeah, you're going to see late in this race, he's going to start to come out a little bit as the favorite here makes a run at him down the outside. He's going to impede that horse a little bit. He is going to go on, though, Dan, and hold this horse off, and then they're going to take the win away from him here. I don't think it would be that hard to argue that he was best in this race, even with coming out into that horse, but I can't argue with the disqualification either. We'll see if he's going to handle the synthetic surface. I think that's the major question here.
His sire, Twirling Candy, gets 11% winners with his synthetic routers. That's about average or slightly below. The 6 is Baby Billy, and this horse won last time out, a maiden special on the turf at Gulfstream Park. It was at this 1.125 distance. Let's watch this race, and this is what's known, Mike, as a dream run. The rail is wide open. Baby Billy does have run, and he shoots on through to score.
Yeah, you got a perfect trip in this race. I kind of felt like he just took advantage here, Dan. I won't be too hard on him for this win because he is going to be a price in this race. And it's also at least worth pointing out that he's also run a fast race on dirt. So maybe he's that kind of versatile horse who will handle this surface this time. And he did win at 9 furlongs last time. I just don't want to bet him back off that win last time.
Blinkers on the overnight for the 6, Baby Billy, off the win for Jack Sisterson. Mike mentioned the good efforts on dirt, the win on turf. The sire's gotten off to a slow start on synthetic, only 1 for 39, but it's way too early to just say his horses can't step on the surface. The 2 is Bluebird's Over, a very good 2-year-old on the all-weather last year for trainer Safi Joseph. He won the Grade 3 Gray over Woodbine Stupida to close out his abbreviated season, and in his first start of the year, they caught a stakes race on turf. I didn't see much of an excuse, but maybe he needed one off the bench.
Yeah, off the layoff in a pretty tough race anyway. So it wasn't a terrible performance. A slight step forward as far as figures go, though, Dad. Maybe he takes another step forward here. And if he does, he could certainly put himself in the mix back on a synthetic surface that he handled as a 2-year-old. Listen, I thought he looked good winning his career debut. I didn't love the Gray. I know it's a Grade 3 race up in Canada. It didn't seem like a very good field there, and I wasn't, blown away by his win, but he's so lightly raced, I won't knock him.
The number 8 is Congruent. He's a stakes winner on dirt and on synthetic, and he got good setups in both of those stakes victories. In the Laurel Futurity last year, he was able to shoot up the rail in an off-the-turf race. He was beaten by Major Dude, seemingly on the square, 2 starts back on turf in the Kitten's Joy. But last time out in the Battaglia, he was last and wide on the backstretch. He followed some really live cover on the second turn, got to the outside and ran him down.
Yeah, he just had a good trip last time. The pace was fast in front of him. He was out in the clear making his move, and he got the job done. He earned a very solid figure for that race, Dan. And I guess if he runs another 91, he's very competitive in here. I want to see him do it. He's not a great price on the morning line. I would just prefer to use other horses in this race.
A much better price on the morning line is the number 9. That's Escapeologist, who really took a step in the right direction last time out in his first ever start on turf. He made his first 5 efforts on dirt. They were okay. Last time out on turf is better. His sire has had his sire's progeny, 19 starts on synthetic, 3 wins.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see what he does. He's another horse who feels like he'll be a good price in this race. I couldn't really get to him. I didn't really like any of his dirt races, Dan. I didn't think he improved all that much in his most recent start on turf. He was up closer to the pace that day, but it was a very slow pace. I don't know. I can't get a good handle on this horse. I guess if you like him at a big price, you should just take a shot.
The number 10, Two Phils, has some very strong company lines. He's a graded stakes winner going 2 turns on dirt. He was second to Instant Coffee in the Lecompton, his first start this year at 3. Last time out in the Risen Star, I thought that pace was really solid. And while this horse got a good trip in between horses in the second flight early, 3 wide bid to loom boldly turning for home, I also think he made the first move into the teeth of the pace, and maybe that hurt him. I don't like how he's flattened out in his last 2 races. It concerns me about the distance, but if he handles the poly, he fits with these horses.
Absolutely, he does. And in some ways, as far taking the surface out of the equation, he's probably got the credentials to be the horse to beat in this race. He's run really well in his last 2 starts. He didn't win either time. He ran really well in both of those races, and it proved that his win in the street sense last year wasn't a function of the wet track, because it felt like he really improved that day. But he's kept it going on fast dirt in his last 2 starts. I don't really want to take a short price on him as he switches surfaces for the first time now, but man, I'm not going to be surprised when he runs well in here.
Sire gets 15% winners, some synthetic routers, and the Dam 1 on Polytrack. The 11 is Wadsworth, and ever since this horse was gelded and moved to Polytrack for trainer Brad Cox, he's been super impressive. He was a speedy winner 2 starts back, and then he showed his versatility last time out, rallying from off the pace to demolish a field that produced a couple of next out winners.
Yeah, I thought he looked really good, even though his figure didn't improve last time. I thought he looked really good winning that race. Once he got clear and came 4 wide to the stretch, he just overpowered that field and won easily. He was super impressive breaking his maiden on the lead back at the end of December. That was a dominant win with an 82 Beyer speed figure, Dan. I think he could even take another step forward here. He does not need the lead to be effective, at least based on that last one. He's got a huge pedigree, too. His Dam was good on dirt, wound up getting really good when they switched it to turf. His second Dam, a grade 1 winner on this surface.
The 12 is Point Proven. You get a price on a Todd Pletcher, John Velasquez combination, and a horse that wants every bit of the mile and an eighth. We're going to watch his most recent start. This is a first level allowance at Gulfstream, going a mile and an eighth. And I think this is a good experience for him. You see him grinding along 3 wide and in between horses. He'll get in a little bit tight late. I doubt he would have won even without the trouble, but he's the kind of horse that'll stay on, and it appears he's got some pedigree for this surface.
Yeah, that's true. He's a grinding type of horse, so you feel like the distance isn't going to hurt him at all in this race. He's got a terrible post on the outside, and he's got to switch surfaces and then improve as he switches surfaces. But he's run some okay races.
And he did win with Lasix off, going a mile and an eighth, 3 starts back. Unrunner, 18% winners with synthetic, and this one is a half sibling to a winner on an all-weather surface. Before we get to our top picks, please click the subscribe button on the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel for the latest DRF videos. Top pick time for the Jeff Ruby Stakes. Winner likely on the way to the Kentucky Derby. Mike, you're going with Wadsworth. Super on synthetic so far. The price certainly right on the morning line at 8-1. It can work out any kind of trip.
Yeah, that's how I looked at it too, Dan. We'll see if he holds at anywhere near that 8-1. More than anything else, the 2 favorites on the morning line for this race, and I think they're both good, but they're also both switching surfaces for this race. So I'll take shots against them here with horses who have already proven on this surface. And I really like the last 2 races from Wadsworth.
I have some concerns about the distance for Two Phils. I'm hopeful that he'll handle the surface. I think he's tactical enough to work out the right trip. And I think he's been facing better horses than the ones he's going to face in the Jeff Ruby. 7-2 is about the limit, though. I don't want to take anything shorter than that in this big, bulky field, doing something, as Mike mentioned, for the first time. 11-3, 110 for Mike, 10-1, 8-4 for me. It's the Jeff Ruby Stakes on Saturday at Turfway. Good luck.